BuzzPOP hari ini. Kita bakal membincangkan My Hero Academia Season 5 Episode 3. Jadi para panelis kita malam ini terdiri daripada saya, Nik Nazri Iskandar daripada BuzzPOP TV, kaki anime kita Shazli American, serta kaki manga kita Andri Alwi. Hey guys.
Hello.
What's up man? Selamat berpuasa.
Selamat puasa.
Okey, dengan itu jom kita mulakan perbincangan kita malam ini. Jadi segmen pertama kita adalah reaksi satu ayat kepada episod minggu ini. Okey, jadi reaksi satu ayat ya. Aku akan mulakan dengan round 1, fight. Syaz, apakah reaksi satu ayat kau kepada episod minggu ini ya? Silakan.
Shinso. Tu je.
So, Andri?
Stretch.
Stretch eh? Wow.
Yeah, it's stretch. It's a stretch episode.
Nice.
There's basically like 3 things happening and that's about it lah.
Lebih kurang. Ya, exactly. Jadi dengan itu kita akan kita ada komen daripada Fred daripada JB ya. Hello. Selamat puasa. Hey Fred.
Terima kasih.
Welcome to the stream. Mofa pula reaksi satu ayatnya, Shinso gantikan siapa nanti? Does it have to be a outright ganti? I mean kalau dia like dalam joint training dia jadi bagus, adakah dia akan menendang somebody daripada kelas 1A or 1B? Apa pendapat kau Shazli? Silakan.
Aku tak pernah pula terfikir that there is a limit of 20 and 20. I thought it was just a nice number je. Tapi kalau dia gantikan, alamak. Aku dah tak boleh sebab it's like we grew attached to the characters dah. I mean all of them in some way or some form kan. So tiba-tiba kalau macam like you kena tendang and then Shinso masuk, sedih lah peminat-peminat yang enjoy that character, unless they make a special case lah, mungkin 21 people in satu dalam satu kelas.
Andri, what's your thoughts?
It's like this. I don't think there's a limit of 20 people per class. What I think is Shinso is a special case. You don't transfer courses that easily, so maybe they make some ruminations. At least it's my initial response to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nanti kita akan bincangkan lagi di dalam segmen kita yang seterusnya. Dengan itu kita akan mulakan perbincangan malam ini tentang 5 plot menarik daripada My Hero Academia Season 5 Episode 3. Okey, jadi plot menarik pertama adalah One for All Vestiges. I guess this is a continuation daripada minggu lepas ya, di mana kita lihat Deku menceritakan mimpinya kepada All Might. Kemudian All Might mengkongsikan bahawa dirinya serta mentornya sebelum ini Nana juga telah mempunyai mimpi yang sama. Teori Nana ini adalah Vestiges, iaitu satu bekas memori daripada pengguna kuasa One for All yang turut diturunkan sebagai pusaka bersama dengan kuasa tersebut. All Might mengesahkan bahawa Deku lah orang pertama yang berjaya bercakap dengan pemegang kuasa One for All yang pertama. Persoalannya, mengapakah Deku seorang saja yang berjaya bercakap dengan user One for All yang pertama ni, dan kenapa dia tak nampak the second and the third user? Kita mulakan dengan Syaz. Silakan Syaz.
Well, kalau kita nak tengok daripada segi logic outside of anime lah, sebab Deku ni power of friends kan. So because of that, bila sampai ke tangan dia, most likely there's something within him yang trigger lah, that allows him to talk to the One for All punya first user ni. Yang second and third ni I tak tahu kenapa. Sebab kalau kita nak theorize based on what we have dari segi knowledge from the anime itself, yang kuning tu is All Might, betul? Kan? So it's not very All Might is
last week.
Kan? All Might is not very clear. So adakah based on that is the other two users yang kelabu tu is because they are still alive as well? Or adakah mungkin diorang ni menggunakan
But
kuasa tu untuk kejahatan? I don't know.
you see they are the second and the third user. Kau nampak kat belakang tu yang silhouette tu. You can see the
Betul?
first user, you can see the eighth user iaitu All Might, you can see the seventh one which is Nana. So it's kind of weird lah yang dia lompat. You can see the first one but you cannot see the second and the third one. Aku macam, adakah ini misteri berkaitan dengan maybe ayah Deku sebenar? Ceng ceng
Tak,
ceng.
takut itu dah Brazil sangat bro, daripada Brazil sampai Argentina tu. But it could also be dia punya duration of time that dia orang pakai. So mungkin because one for all was using it paling, the first user was using it the longest, and then the second or third mungkin sebab dia tak pakai as much, so dia orang punya vestige tu tak fully imprinted kat situ. And
Yeah, I
also
think I like the theory.
there is also the possibility lah that maybe as Deku gets to know further dia punya ability, then he gets to unlock lah. Mungkin dia macam kita lah, kita ingat lupa kan. So even the Vestiges pun bila dah pass down from person to person, ingat lupa. So maybe there's some barrier kat situ lah. It could just be a simple thing macam tu.
Okay. Oh, by the way, overlay hari ni adalah daripada manga dia. So it's pretty cool that what was in the manga is actually like, you know, adapted directly into the anime.
Yep.
Cuma with color. Andri, apa komentar yang kau boleh berikan tanpa memberi spoiler yang besar ya?
Okay, the powers hasn't been explained fully even until now. So I'm going to buat my own theory Brazil lah on this whole matter lah.
Silakan.
Last week I said we didn't see the second and third user because Deku was like only 20%. I like to retract that. Maybe I think I may be right on that, but after watching the episode 3, this is episode 3, right? Episode 3 on Saturday. It came out on Saturday, at least for me. I had a few days to think about it. I think the reason why we cannot see the second and third user is because the second and third user, I think dia punya consciousness, right, is what's holding the one for all together. It's not a hereditary power, it's like a transfer of power. I think their sentient psyche is the one holding the power to the next generation. That's why when you see Deku and even All Might power up, right, there's a similarity. There's like some sort of like electric coming out, and the third user is more like yellow, bright yellow, and the second one was like red. It was like the lines dekat dengan tangan dia tu yang keluar.
Oh, I think it's red and purple, while All Might was yellow, but the silhouette of the ones we cannot see were red and purple.
Red and purple.
Yeah.
Okay, something like that lah. Maybe the red is the one that's enhancing the power, and maybe the purple one is the one that's holding the thing together. They like sacrifice themselves to make sure that this power is accumulated enough to defeat one for all in the end. Because when one for all gave his younger brother the power, he thought it was just that particular power, but actually he had a plans to stop his older brother. So he possibly found another user and then tried to think up of a long-term plan to defeat his brother. You have to understand this was happening during the first era of the emergence of the Quirk powers.
Adakah betul bahawa the first era ialah 70 tahun lepas ya?
It's not explained in detail on the timeline, but people took that as the fact for now, unless they made an official state in the manga. But it's basically a few generations, could be 2-3 generations, which is in line with 70 years. But but if you see that if you include All Might, right, there's like already 8 generations. So they're basically a lot of the users for One for All has died fighting All for One. Yeah, so basically the power that Deku has right now is specifically used to defeat All for One, not to actually to become the greatest hero like he wanted, but it's just to defeat the source of all the evil, which is basically much more noble and iconic than just being the greatest superhero ever actually. So that's
Okay,
my theory Brazil on the matter.
untuk penonton baru ataupun lapsed audience macam aku ni, apakah kuasa yang sebenarnya diberikan daripada All for One kepada adik dia? Because dia kata adik dia ni is like quirkless, lepas tu like loser. So it's like I finally found a power good enough to give to you. But then it was never explained in the
It was
last
never
film.
shown. Yes, correct. That's why there's a lot of things up in the air. We don't know what his original power is. Maybe the second and third user has some sort of power macam that's similar to All for One. Yang boleh rampas kuasa. It's like a parasitic per nature. But campur dengan dia punya own power, maybe we can do something positive with this. But like I said, it's just a theory Brazil for now. But without knowing more information, that's my take on it. And it could be wrong. Yeah, spekulasi.
Cool.
Aku rasa lah Nick that All for One punya the power that he give dia punya brother tu is that dia macam bagi, how shall we put it, dia bagi macam kotak kosong tau. It's an empty vessel, but this vessel can be passed on from person to person. So secara tak langsung mungkin All for One has given sebab All for One ni kan dia boleh ambil and then dia boleh bagi kat orang, betul? So
yes,
maybe
kita nampak dalam minggu lepas
he found a similar power to himself. So dia rasa macam I don't need an inferior version of this, so why don't I just give it to my brother, let's see what he does with it. So bila it pass to the first user, dia tak boleh buat apa-apa dengan benda tu sebab it's just a bekas. And when he pass to the next user and the next user, they begin to imprint dia orang punya power kat dalam that power, so it became a combination of multiple powers.
I don't know man, that sounds like a misteri yang lebih besar yang aku tak percaya dah 200 chapter kemudian still tidak sekarang dah 309 ke 307, it's still not fully covered yet.
Betul, but I mean if you think about it, a lot of the example of the powers were shown, contohnya kuasa merah tu keluar, speed pun ada, power pun ada. So it feels like it's more than just a simple power. It feels now dah jadi macam combination of multiple powers.
So does it mean One for All ni is literally like Shazam, only in a bekas form? Lepas tu every time kau pass to somebody, they put something into the bekas and then you pass. It's like a charity box that passes down.
So it has inherited power, tapi sebab you cannot 100% utilize the power, so that might be the problem kat situ lah. That's why mungkin the first two users tu, mungkin ada yang user yang belakang shadow tu, sebab dia orang tak imprint sangat compared to the other future users. So for now dia quite kabur lah.
Okay, I'd like to
silakan.
at this point, basically the power yang kita nampak dengan Deku, right, is only basically not two things: enhancement of strength and speed, which is basically what he does is actually boost everything. I agak that one of the power users, the second or third, is dia punya power is like that, they enhance everything. Maybe the second user, and the third could be the one that's holding up all this thing together, kan? They accumulate the power from the first, second, third user until the end. So basically, you got the power to boost and the power to actually take in all the previous power users. Like I said, that could be right, because the other user kita tengok kan, they have their own macam traits, they have their own features. Ada yang muscular, and Nana, for example, looks like Power Girl, some sort of character, something like that.
Yeah. No, apa yang disturbingnya is like the first user, the first All for One user looks a little bit like the League of Villains punya ketua tu. Kalau kau tengok dia ada scraggly hair tu, it's like it looks really the same, man.
Kan.
But that's from another factor. The if you remember the first time we see All Might in his weakened form, right?
Yes.
Isn't he like the first user sebelum dia dapat powers? He's a withered form. So basically, if you pass on the power to someone else, and they at the end of the day, they would become like the first user. Dia sakit kronik macam tu.
Interesting.
And yeah,
Okay, kita ada beberapa komen daripada penonton di rumah ya. Rasanya semua ni dah stop baca manga pasal macam spoilery ya. Mofang mengatakan nampak macam Bakugo seorang tu. Yang mana satu? Aku tak nampak bagaimana macam Bakugo. Antara the previous All for One users kan. Iqbal Lee menambah, kan aku dah cakap dekat manga lagi jelas. Yes bro, yes. Kemudian Iqbal Lee juga berkatakan, seingat aku masa season 3 ada mention One for All ini accumulate quirks. Maksudnya dia top up dan top up. Maybe aku silap, lupa dah. Kemudian Mofa juga interject, betul, ada dalam season 3 and dalam manga ada dah bagi tahu rasanya cuma tak full. Okay, so kalau kita tengok dalam movie yang from the previous season, dalam finale tu Deku sharekan the kuasa dengan Bakugo. Tapi kemudian Deku tarik balik. So is that Deku's new unlock ability sekarang? Dia boleh share one for all with other people, but also at the end of the day pull it back into him. Apa pendapat korang? Shazli, silakan Shazli.
Oh, itu actually is just an incomplete transfer. Itu je. Sebab Deku dia tak mahir lagi on how to figure out how to transfer 100% to another person. So dia ingat, inilah cara aku transfer. So last sebab the transfer was incomplete, so temporary buff je lah. Tapi even then kalau you tengok you tengok bila Bakugo dapat super power macam tu kan, macam like wow.
Yes.
Tambah dia tengah panas pun kan. So mungkin
silakan ya Shazli, continue.
So mungkin what happened is he wanted to pass the entire power one for all tu, tapi sebab dia tak reti nak pass fully kan. So mungkin dalam kepala dia, we need to be stronger than this to beat our current opponent. So mungkin during that moment, so only that portion je lah, the enhancement portion that was passed over kepada Bakugo ni. And that's why it wasn't a full complete transfer. So sekejap je lah dia punya effect.
Yes. Andri, apa pendapat kau tentang how Deku used the power and shared it with Bakugo in the movie?
Okay, it's like this. When it comes to anime, right? When you talk about movies, right? 90% of the time, it's not canon to the series. Actually, they make some plot allowances just for the sake of making the story interesting. So, the powers that he showcase at the movie may happen in the future, but at the current timeline, it's not stated that Midoriya can actually touch someone and boost his power temporarily, even doing anything at all. So I think it's not canon actually.
But the thing that was interesting when I did the research was yang penulis dan pelukis ni originally wanted this to be the ending for the series. Cuma he decided to continue. Therefore dia macam, okay lah, aku gunakan ending ni sebagai the third act of this summer movie je lah. So that means
spoiler.
At the back of his head, he kind of had this in mind untuk Deku ke, ataupun ke macam mana ke?
Spoiler. Basically he's telling you Bakugo will live until the end.
Oh sial lah.
There you go.
Okay, cool. Kita juga ada beberapa komen lagi dari penonton di rumah ya. Iqbal Lee mengatakan, aku rasa benda tu tak canon and just for movie gimmick. Koizumi Yusuke menambah, one for all choose the person because of the sacrifices he made was deemed worthy by the predecessors, and transfer cannot be completed even though he tried to transfer, but Midoriya has something that Bakugo doesn't have. Okay. Mofa juga mengatakan, tapi MHA selalu menjaga timeline supaya setiap movie jadi canon. Sebab movie tu dia ada bagi tahu kejadian dalam manga. Penjahat nama 9 tu Shigaraki ada sebut dalam manga. Yeah, is this a special thing untuk MHA je, di mana movie dia bukan filler tapi actually part of the canon ataupun initially thought to be used as the finale? Andri, apa pendapat kau?
Okay, there are two movies for My Hero Academia. The first one, the two heroes, right? It could be canon because it touches on All Might's punya past. But the second movie is more on Deku, and a lot of things that happen there could be canon, couldn't be canon. So unless there's the official word that this is canon, the things that happen is no doubt can happen. But at this particular time, it's not possible for him to do it. So if you're talking about time relevance, it's not canon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maksudnya macam movie untuk this summer juga yang antara season 5 ni, the one with the three musketeers, is that also not canon? Therefore, it's not in the manga at all.
Like I said, it's 50-50. There hasn't been an official word, and they didn't even recall the adventures during the series, right?
Aku tak sure. Aku tak sure.
Even the first movie, they didn't. All Might didn't actually mention the adventure to visit his old friend and daughter, right? To Deku.
Yes.
How was the break? Did you do anything? No word. So could be canon, could be canon. This is the problem with anime movies. It's just for that particular movie. It's like an elsewhere adventure for some people.
Okay, macam Red Sun ataupun Gotham by Gaslight lah, I guess.
Yeah, but it's not that far apart lah.
Yeah, it's still in the same timeline ataupun the same reality. Okay, dengan itu berakhirlah segmen ini dan kita akan ke plot kita yang menarik yang seterusnya. Okay, plot menarik kedua ni juga tentang masa depan ataupun probable masa depan of dunia MHA ni, di mana kita bercerita tentang the Quirk Singularity Doomsday Theory. Pemegang kuasa One for All yang pertama mengatakan kepada Deku, be careful, we're long past the singularity point. So soalan aku kepada korang, adakah singularity point yang dikatakan ini berkaitan dengan teori Quirk Singularity Doomsday yang dikatakan oleh Dr. Kyudai Garaki 70 tahun lepas, di mana dia menteorikan bahawa evolusi Quirks generasi ke generasi akan sampai ke tahap di mana mereka tidak boleh dikawal langsung oleh masyarakat manusia di masa depan. Kita mulakan dengan Syaz, silakan. Which kita dah nampak dengan budak-budak generasi sekarang ni yang berkuasa. Kalau kau nampak dalam komik tu, at the end of last season, mereka agak berkimak. Mereka macam tak nak dengar. They think they are better than Deku and Bakugo. So
but
silakan.
Aku rasa over time, it is not so much that dia punya users tak boleh nak control, but it becomes the more how shall we put it, kita boleh buat comparison dengan kita punya real life sekarang lah. Kat Malaysia ni kan, you perasan tak kalau orang tak ada smartphone kan, orang akan macam like, kenapa kau tak ada smartphone ni? So it's something that has been taken for granted for so long. So at that point of time, macam everybody expect, we will get our quote, we'll be able to use it and everything. So why should we listen to people zaman-zaman dulu? Zaman korang tak ada benda ni, so why should we care? So as over time, as the quirks develop further and further, the power level might increase, but also there is a possibility that for the sake of how do we put it, for the survival of the generation kan, human punya survival, the quirks might end up neutralizing themselves. Itu memang Brazil gila lah, tanpa apa-apa basis lah kan, but it's more of, I say it's more of the users themselves. Kalau if everybody is used to
I think we can see it in like Shoto Todoroki himself. He is half his mom and half his father, right? Fire and ice. So is this an example of the complexity of the quirks with intermarriage and stuff like that? That means it's gonna, like if Shoto can marry say another double wielder of power, is the daughter ataupun son gonna have 4 powers?
I don't think it works macam mathematically macam tu. Contoh yang terbaik was apa nama budak tu, in one of the previous seasons they had a water user punya kid dalam dia punya summer camp tu, yang camp malam dia kena serang tu. So both his parents were water users, but he did not become a super water user. So it's not necessarily a mathematical punya thing, And kalau kita tengok pun as a Shoto punya family kan, the Todoroki family, it's not 100%. Kalau you kahwin tu, it's like 50-50. So it's really a random pairing lah. Macam kita pun, my mom punya side rambut curly for example, my dad mungkin straight, but I got my mom punya side, dia bukannya like half curly, half straight punya kind of thing. So it really depends on luck and randomization. But the fear that what the doctor made in story tu is that as more and more and more as kita punya genetics in this story gets more, how shall we say, quirk kan. Yeah, it can end up being every single element might be very quirky, but it's not so much the powers, it will become more insane, but it becomes more macam you are moving away from human punya current punya state lah. I mean, mungkin everybody in the future mungkin dah ada mata lizard, rambut kaki macam kata and what not, but it's not so much the power increasing from the quirks.
Interesting. Andri, apa pendapat kau tentang singularity point ni ataupun the Doomsday theory by this doctor 70 years ago?
Okay, the singularity point, I do not think much about it because more focused on the plot. But from what I can decipher, I think it's more on social and genetic related. As the generations go by, the descendants will inherit a lot of the quirks from the parents. So some of them may get powers that are from the mother or father or the grandparents, but sometimes they will get some totally new powers that could overshadow everything. But what I really think that the doctor means about Doomsday singularity point scenario, right, is when there are too many people with quirks, right, humanity itself changed socially, because right now we have a set of law and order which people follow, because if we break the laws, there'll be some punitive measure. Katakan if I rob a bank, I would go to jail. But that's going to happen if they manage to catch me. But what if I have a certain quirk that allows me to not be able to be captured? What if I set my own rules? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was disconnected.
Did our host disconnect?
I think so.
I don't see him on the screen. Oh, first time berlaku. Okay lah. Kita temporarily ambil over the host sekejap.
Okay.
He's trying to come back in.
Okay.
So anyway, I think that's a good point that you mentioned, Andri. Kita boleh comparekan dengan this very good DC comic I pernah baca dulu. It was a 4 ke 5 parter. It was Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah.
So that was a very good analogy when we compare dengan My Hero Academia, because all the heroes have started marrying each other, their children and grandchildren of all superheroes, sampai there's no more villains. They end up the heroes all fighting each other. So memang dari segi evolution of powers kat situ, who sets the rules? Because then if even sekarang pun kalau kita tengok in the actual anime and manga punya canon, 70% kan, there is already at least have some form of
No, 70, 80%.
80%, okay.
Yeah, because because during the beginning of season 5, Deku made the usual rundown lah. He mentioned that 80% has quirks in the world.
Okay. So kita imagine normal pure human ni dah kurang tau. So who is to say that in fact even now the only reason why there is peace is because the ones with quirks and the one without quirks are working together. Contohnya ingat tak when the 1A students, they went vigilante sekejap and then the captain of the police yang anjing to show up.
Yeah.
Kan? So
yeah.
He has quirks in the sense that he has a dog face and everything, but he still follows general society punya rules. So selagi there are still people who believe in law and order, macam that example that police kan, I think it should be fine as long as the ones with powers do not like let's say kalau tiba-tiba you have like 500 all mics running around the world causing havoc as villains, then I think it should be okay lah. Hello, welcome back tuan rumah.
Welcome back.
Hi bro, sorry, connection aku memang ada masalah for the past few weeks. So sorry, I totally missed the points. Korang cerita pasal apa? Sorry, my bad.
Sorry,
okay, I was actually telling Shazli and you at the time that the whole doomsday theory is more on social factor than actually genetic powers factor, because because right now the world, humanity itself was following the rules and laws of men. Now with a lot of people, like 80% already have quirks. They already step into new territory. Now now we should build a new set of laws for people with quirks, the new Superman, the new meta humans, whatever you want to call it them. So maybe that's the doomsday scenario for humanity, but actually a new beginning for these super people.
Okay, bonus question aku kepada korang kan. So kita tahu dalam the first episode ataupun the first chapter, Deku said that this is how he became the hero, right? The number one hero.
Yeah.
So would it be logical sebagai spekulasi kalau dia punya final act as a hero is to end all heroes, i.e., you know, kuasa dia kan is kind of like he is a collector of powers, right? Why doesn't he just like suck up the whole world's powers and then end himself? Would that be the end of this whole series? Apa pendapat korang tentang teori Brazil yang amat Brazil ini?
Itu dah melampau sangat tu ni. Itu macam siapa tu dalam komik Scarlet Witch ke? Yang dia bengang, dia magic kan.
No more mutants.
Itu aku rasa takut. That sounds like a very sad ending for the story.
Okay.
Other than that, aku rasa I don't think he will fit his personality lah to do that, because that is a all for one punya mindset, not one for all. I don't think he'll be going around taking
the hero of this story all along.
Dia hero mindset kan. So takkanlah he's going to do that kind of thing kan.
Andri, apa pendapat kau?
It could happen. Like you mentioned, Scarlet Witch did it. So maybe they'll do it at the end. You have to understand, the author can do whatever he wants. He still has like a good 5 years for the story at least.
Yeah.
But if you ask me how it's going to end, I think it's going to end with Deku dying, because you can only become a proper hero if you're dead.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, kita dah mula nampak dengan with all these like past predecessors, it's just tunggu masa that he becomes a predecessor himself. Okay, kita kan, yeah. So kita ada beberapa komen daripada penonton di rumah ya. Mofa daripada YouTube mengatakan Singularity point ini ada disebut dalam movie. Dalam trailer dia kata Deku and the gang nak menangkap orang ajaran sesat pasal Singularity point ini. Oh, okay. So it has nothing to do with the Quirk Singularity. Iqbal bertanya daripada movie baru nanti ke? And dia menjawab yes. Dia sedar sebut dalam trailer movie 3. So yeah, we can look forward yeah, to the Singularity point in the summer. That's interesting. Lepas tu Iqbal juga mengatakan teori aku ialah teori Brazil World Cup Z. Mofa mengatakan teori ini dijawab dalam manga. Aku tak pandai nak pusing. Okay, I guess Andri's not trying to spoil us anything.
Andri trying to remember dari mana pula teori ni kan.
307 chapters.
Yes.
308 already. 308 chapters. Mana? How can I explain this without spoiling?
Okay lah, dengan itu kita tak apa. Kita tunggu sampai kita dapat tahu maybe a year from now, 2 years from now. Dengan itu berakhirlah segmen ini dan kita akan ke plot menarik yang seterusnya. Okay, jadi plot menarik yang seterusnya adalah tentang transfer student Hitoshi Shinso. So awal dalam episod ini selepas kita Aizawa dah marah macam Deku kau pergi bersedia sekarang, cukuplah storyline kau yang tu, kita ada joint training ni. Dan kau nampak ahli kelas 1A mendedahkan winter costume mereka sejurus sebelum kelas 1B menyertai mereka. It's pretty cool. Aku suka the new look on Bakugo and also the new look on Deku. The rest aku tak perasan sangat like much changes, but maybe you guys notice more. Then Monoma daripada 1B seperti biasa, mulut dia bacol dan dia tak boleh belah. But dia kena lempang dengan Aizawa after that. Shinso dengan yes, kena cekik terus macam diam kau sekarang. Shinso dengan brainwashing Quirk-nya diumumkan sebagai transfer student daripada aliran General Studies ke aliran Hero Course. Dan dalam babak ni kita nampak flashback ya, di mana kawan-kawan Shinso menyatakan bahawa Quirk-nya bersamaan dengan a villain ability. Namun Shinso berkeras ingin menjadi hero dan bertekad untuk menghapuskan kelas 1A dan 1B. Seperti yang dikatakan, I'm not here to make friends. Jadi persoalan aku kepada korang adalah, mengapakah Cikgu Aizawa akrab dengan Shinso? Dan mengapakah kostum Shinso untuk joint training ini bagaikan diinspirasikan oleh Aizawa? Adakah ni macam mentor-mentee sistem ke apa? Syaz, kita mulakan dengan kau.
Oh, yang ni aku rasa tak payah nak teori Brazil sangat lah. Basically, kita ada dua kelas Form 1 daripada Hero Course ni. So antara cikgu yang aku rasa lebih sesuai analisis dengan seorang lagi yang jenis panas baran ni kan. So mungkin dia pergi jumpa cikgu Aizawa lah kot. What do I need to do to be able to join Hero punya course? Nothing to do personal relationship and all that. Aku rasa yang dia punya kostum baru ni, at first aku ingatkan mula-mulanya is a weapon kan, tapi rupanya kena tipu. It is meant to hide the fact that he is using yang mask tu is dia punya actual weapon. So by using this, dia macam ada perang psikologi lah. Orang ingat ini macam Aizawa Sensei punya ability ke, dia ni rope user ke, padahal is hiding the fact that his mask is the real weapon. So most likely, as you said, is a mentor-mentee. Dia bertanya dengan cikgu, what do I do, how do I become, because I have the power that can be used for good. So aku rasa Aizawa ni dia nampak it's not so much the power, is nawaitu budak tu. So potensi. Mungkin dia potensi and dia berkeras nak jadi student kan. Kalau ingat lagi from the very first season tu, was it or second season, when the 1A baru first time belajar nak baling bola, nak test power semua kan. Dia terjumpa dengan All Might cakap, kau tak buang siapa-siapa ke? That means in the past he has actually failed his students before.
Yeah.
For not trying, for not taking it seriously lah. So with someone who is serious macam tu, although dia muka macam orang tak cukup tidur kan. So when Shinso is serious about it, so I think that is why he gave some ideas and what to do lah dari segi equipment dengan semua ni, uniform dia.
Interesting. Andri, apa pendapat kau tentang the transfer from 1C to 1A or 1B?
Okay, I agree with a lot of Shazli punya point. I think Shinso approached Aizawa because Aizawa seems the more balanced teacher among the hero teachers. But I think the main reason why Aizawa is very mentor-like to Shinso is because he sees a lot of himself in Shinso. Dia punya rambut serabut macam tak sikat. Even dia punya attitude, right, and social attitude kan, it's like Aizawa. Aizawa doesn't give a fuck on people. Dia punya hobi tidur basically. Which is why he loves it, because he doesn't have to talk to anyone when he's sleeping. And Shinso basically doesn't want to talk to people that much because dia takut possibly that he may influence them without him knowing. So you have to understand from Shinso's point of view, he's a type of person who possibly is more suited to become a villain, but he wanted to become a hero, which is much better than a hero that ends up being a villain in the end, like Ozymandias from Watchmen. Noble intentions, but he became like the biggest, one of the biggest villains in comic history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah.
Indeed.
So when Aizawa took Shinso under his wing, Shinso, being as smart as he is, probably realized it and tried to pay some sort of tribute, like at least dress like him, like he pakai all those that what cloak robe outfit macam him, and like Shazi said, like, it's just a tribute. He doesn't have the ability to actually use it macam control and immobilize people with it. So it's a sign of respect for both parties. Plus, Aizawa possibly respect Shinzo that much because he's really serious. He's willing to actually leave and tell his current classmate, I'm going to fuck you all because I want to become a hero. I make friends here, or I don't make friends, it doesn't matter. I'm going to become a hero, whether people like it or not.
I think it's been his end game all along. Pasal dia tak terpilih untuk masuk 1B or 1C, it's been his end game. So it's good, and I look forward to where he will be in the future. You know, let's just say I found some very benda menakutkan di Google. Fan art ni memang okay.
Kau layan lagi.
I have to give you a warning lah. The fan community in this anime is very toxic.
Yeah.
Especially the shippers. Teruk.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, definitely. Macam aku tengah cari Bakugo ke, aku tengah cari Deku, tiba-tiba I found some weird stuff. So aku macam okay, ni tak boleh.
Bakugo Deku, Bakugo Red Riot, Bakugo Ochako.
Next level. Kalah Star Wars dengan MCU kalah. It's like
Kalah.
Okay, it's like kita ada beberapa komen dari penonton di rumah ya. Iqbal Lee daripada YouTube mengatakan, yes, itulah winter hero uniform mereka. So maksudnya setiap season dia orang akan tukar baju ke apa? Ke it was just a season 4 thing? Andre?
It's very common in Japan to actually change uniform during the seasons. Actually, they have a spring uniform, summer uniform, winter uniform. Fall uniform, I'm not so sure. Maybe they have it, maybe they don't have it. Maybe they just wear the spring or summer uniform. But it is common for every school to have at least 3 sets of uniform according to the seasons. So it's no different for UA.
Oh, okay. So memang ni benda sekolah lah. Ni bukan benda merchandising nak jual lagi banyak toys lah.
It could be there also. Who wants more money?
Yes, betul.
Yeah.
Iqbal Lee juga menambah, tapi dalam episod ini potong steam kerana Shinso baru nak tunjuk power, and then yes, aku pun like I kept touching the screen on my Netflix macam, oi, tinggal 6 minit lagi and then battle baru nak start. Apa banyak sangat like, you know, it's like setup. It's like I'm looking forward to next week's episode where they just like let loose. Now you know who are the 5 teams on class A, 5 teams on class B. I hope the next 5 episodes is just like lempang back and forth, man. It's gonna be awesome, man. Mofa mengatakan Shinso jadi power gila dengan support item yang dia ada. Support item apa? Is it yang ni ataupun the kain? Okay, kita akan explain ataupun kita akan bincangkan yang benda ni dalam segmen terakhir kita malam ini. Then dia juga menambah, Shinso belajar dengan Aizawa sama dengan masa Sasuke belajar nak buat Chidori dengan Kakashi. Oh, so itu adalah relationship diorang lah. Koizumi Yusuke dari Facebook mengatakan Shinso's ability is like ability cancellation, but it's actually like voice control. So mostly dah tahu power dia through Deku. Instead, they gave him voice imitator to further his abilities. If not wrong, weapon was made by Uzumi-san. Okay, kita akan bincang tu juga dalam segmen terakhir kita. Dan last kali, Mofa juga mengatakan, bukan setakat fan art, official art pun minggu lepas terbuat art spoil. Mengamuk fans anime minggu lepas. Okay, aku harap aku tak jumpa. Aku harap aku tak jumpa art tu. So it's like pasal aku Google dalam bahasa Inggeris. So aku tak Google dalam bahasa Jepun. So hopefully aku tak terjumpa benda tu. Maka dengan itu berakhirlah segmen ini dan kita akan ke plot menarik kita yang seterusnya. Okay, so plot menarik kita yang seterusnya adalah the joint training punya format ya, between class A versus class B. So the rules were explained in this episode, di mana there's 41 students, class 1A dan class 1B dibagikan ke dalam 5 kumpulan with 4 people each. Tetapi ada kumpulan kelima yang akan mempunyai Shinso. So class 1A, the one with Shinso was the first group, and then for class 1B, the one with Shinso is the fifth group. Objektif mereka ialah kumpulan pertama yang berjaya menawan 4 ahli dari kumpulan lawan sebelum tempoh 20 minit tamat akan menang. Selepas 20 minit tamat, kumpulan dengan paling ramai ahli yang masih bebas akan menang. Kita nampak dalam team up Shinso dengan kelas 1A ialah bersama dengan Asui, Kirishima, Koda dan Kaminari. Dan di dalam grup kelima, Shinso nanti akan berlawan dengan Deku, Uraraka, Mineta dan Ashido. I look forward to that match. And pandainya diorang make it the last one. So kau kena tengok semua joint training walaupun kau tak berminat, just to watch the last one. Persoalan aku kepada korang ialah persoalan pertama ya. Adakah Deku bakal memenangi round 2 battle versus Shinso selepas tumpas kepadanya ketika Sports Day Festival? Apa pendapat kau, Syaz? Silakan.
Ini Andi gelak je sebab dia dah baca manga kan. But kalau you tengok the pairing lah of the characters kat situ kan, I rasa Deku will win but it will be a very close fight. Sebab it's 5 versus 4. So it might be even a draw for all we know lah. Cuma aku rasa my speculation lah is that somehow Uraraka akan kena brainwash. Sebab kita tahu for a fact that dia memang suka sangat dengan Deku kan. So being Shinso, kalau dia is as smart as we can see, most likely dia akan manipulate this use to attack ni lah, to attack our hero semua ni kan. So when you dah kena brainwash ni, Deku memang akan kena lah. So it will be how do we put it Uraraka akan kena brainwash, but Deku akan recall how he fought against the fake Uraraka at one point dalam the licensing punya remember?
Yes.
So
Yes.
because he takes so much attention and recalls the personality traits of a lot of his classmates, that is how he will figure out that she kena brainwash. So it sounds like a simple plot lah, but it is meant to be a point of growth for Deku lah, to show that, you know, to give reward to both sides of the peminat, that Shinso pun knows who to capture, and Deku will understand and figure out that, you know, this is not Uraraka, she's under control and whatnot. So sebab aku rasa kalau based on anime, Shinso sekarang banyak peminat, including myself lah. When they made the transfer, he's like, yeah, because he's a new underdog. Dah lah he tak banyak hero training kan, but because he memang bersemangat nak jadi hero ni, so it's quite interesting to see how he develops lah further dalam dia punya story tu.
Actually, aku secretly nak tengok Shinso take control of Mineta and unleash Mineta's true potential. Unleash the power. I mean, kita dah cakap tentang Mineta lah, you know, a few weeks ago, and then aku tengok, Mineta is also in the same group. Yes.
Yeah. and also all the Mineta haters, dia orang suka kalau dia kena belasah, so it's like it's a win-win lah.
Yes. Kita akan tengok Dark Mineta timbul. Andri, apa pendapat kau tentang the matchup selain daripada the Shinso matchups, are you looking forward to any other matchup between, you know, maybe group 2 versus group 2 of each class?
I actually having read the comics, I know how it's going to end, the results, but I look forward to every matchup yang involve the female students basically. especially Momo and Kido,
Oh yeah.
because for some reason there's not much waifu action so far from this series.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously, it's all just boys, boys, boys. I'm like, do you want ratings? you need to push your waifus. This is anime, for God's sakes.
Betul betul.
Yeah,
Juga
but
kita nampak you were saying, continue.
speaking of class, right? It's very. I just noticed one thing that during the beginning when class 1A was going to the training area, we see class A that they have their own cliques already. I just realized that when Bakugo came in, he came with his usual friends, the Electric Guy and Red Riot. Padahal Todoroki is social awkward, he doesn't fit anywhere. But for some reason, Deku asyik lepak dengan Mineta and Ida. And the girls just stick to themselves. So it's interesting to see all these social circles. They're all friends, but they have their own cliques. So so when the team ups came out, right, for like Team 5 versus 1A versus Team 5, 1B, we see the circle of friends, right, plays a part in setting up teams. So whether they like it or not, there are some certain politics happening right now with this whole series. So it's very interesting to see them progress.
Cool.
Betul,
Soalan kedua aku kepada korang adalah Syaz kena tambah apa-apa?
Yeah, just nak tambah a bit lah. Memang this is a clear reflection of kita orang masa kat sekolah dulu.
Yeah.
Dalam even in our classroom pun we do not hang out with everybody. There's a few people yang kita hang out. Contohnya you have budak-budak yang baca game book, budak-budak yang suka main magic and so on. So they have their own cliques where kalau katakan bila ada project yang cikgu suruh kena push ini push sana, itu memang kita akan kena buat lah. But in the end we still have people we prefer to hang out with. It's a natural how shall we say development lah dalam kelas ni.
Yeah, it's just natural chemistry, I guess.
Yeah, even in the first episode, right, when they were training versus the big three, right, Bakugo and the Electric Guy and Red Riot, right, they were like, let them do the work, let's just pull out. Dia be click kan.
Yes, let's look for the villains. Yeah, betul.
Yeah, let's look for villains. Yeah.
So, persoalan kedua aku adalah, adakah Shinso bakal unlock lebih banyak one for all vestiges apabila dia brainwash Deku nanti? Because this was the first time during the Sports Day Festival, was the first time that we actually saw all these one for all vestiges when he was brainwashed by Shinso. Apa pendapat korang? Is this gonna happen again?
If you ask me, I think it's not likely. It's already happened once.
Okay.
And I'm speaking this as a initial expectation when I first watched and read the comics lah. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay, Syaz, apa pendapat kau?
But it could happen again.
I rasa it was just a one-off punya incident lah, because kalau you use it as a plot point too often, then there is no development from Deku punya side. And kalau kita tengok dari segi the flow of the anime kan, they do want to push that Deku punya effort, his training and all that is what is unlocking more and more of this. So I think it was just a one-off. Mungkin at that point of time, mungkin it was a critical moment kan, moment of crisis. So all the vestiges came out and dia ternampak kat situ lah.
Interesting. Kita ada beberapa komen daripada penonton di rumah ya. Koizumi Yuzuki daripada Facebook mengatakan, dalam banyak-banyak Mineta juga yang kena Grape Rush upgrade. Hahaha. Aku tak tahu ni spoiler ke tak, but I'm looking forward to it already, man. Dan juga Mofa daripada YouTube mengatakan, masa first match nampak kelas B lagi power sebab macam diorang punya combo lagi on point. I think dalam episod ni sendiri it was said that kelas 1A selalu kena attack. So diorang maybe they have more experience, battlefield experience, tapi dari segi strategi on paper kelas 1B lagi pandai. As we can see dalam the first 6 minutes of this first match, di mana mereka menggunakan siapa tu awet yang ada rambut
Ibara.
grapevine tu. Ibara sebagai decoy, Dan the beast guy was the one that went to attack Shishida dan juga Suburaba. So yes, apa pendapat korang for the next 5 matches? Is brains gonna overpower brawn? Is class 1B punya solid strategy gonna overpower the battle experience of 1A? Apa pendapat kau, Syaz?
Dari segi the first match tu kan, is quite obvious that they use reverse psychology lah. Kalau kita tengok kalau kita main any games or card games, board games and so on, akan ada timbul certain tendencies. Setengah orang, contohnya kalau kita main Magic, some people are better in certain playstyle and others are better in other playstyle. So when you're doing an obvious mistake, adakah mistake tu on purpose ataupun tidak? Because you are thinking of you dah tahu the opponent, so macam like adakah dia buat ni sengaja ke tidak? So dalam kes ni, because they already know the opponent, so diorang ni dah biasa jumpa dengan villain yang straightforward, diorang dah banyak lawan and all that, so of course being heroes and logical punya team dalam group tu tak ada orang yang illogical. You perasan tak? Shinso was a very smart thinker, and there were like 2 or 3 other sensible punya types lah. So when you are sensible punya type, you akan fikir orang ni mesti ada power macam ni, so most likely dia orang akan buat macam ni. So you counter dia orang punya steps by thinking one step ahead. So that is how they are using reverse psychology lah. Dia tahu you terror dekat bahagian ni, so kita sengaja play into your thinking, while at the same time kita akan serang daripada arah satu lagi. So kalau nak kira dari segi psikologi, I feel every single group B, ingatkan Ali putus tadi, every single group B punya match, they will start with the advantage, but group A will be more reactive.
Macam kita tengok dalam first like we saw, they were gunning for Kaminari. Is it because he's the lightning guy? Pada aku dia tak berkuasa mana pun. He's just a battery lad, man. Dia macam it's like in every matchup he's like the support instead of like one of the offense. Dan where is the fourth 1B member? Because kita hanya nampak the beast guy and then the silent box guy and then the awet yang dengan. Where is the fourth one? Is she like waiting in the bushes for like I can't wait for the continuation.
Itulah, memang kita Henry knows the answer lah. Macam kita ni, we have to wait for the next episode, but it goes to show that dia orang punya planning is more significant, and also because Monoma ni pun kita tak suka pun, but he's quite a smart person lah, and dia memang strategis lah. Kalau nak tengok, kalau dari segi semua planning, even masa dia punya first sports festival tu pun, he was quite very smart punya planning. Cuma kalah dari segi ability je lah, sebab he himself is no use, sebab dia copy. Kalau dia tak boleh, dia tak
in the group. Is Monoma in group 1B group 1?
Tak.
5.
Oh, group 5. Okay.
Group 5. But in general, kalau tak ada power, he cannot copy anybody. He cannot stand alone.
Makes sense.
And his copy has a limit. He cannot copy 100% of the power to 100% potency. He can copy a portion of the powers at a certain level. So it's not actually an all-powerful power quirk yet.
But something that can grow powerful over time.
Yeah, over time.
Okay, dengan itu berakhirlah segmen ini dan kita akan ke segmen terakhir kita malam ini. Okay, jadi ini adalah di mana kita bakal membincangkan cliffhanger ending ya, di mana Shinso menunjukkan ultimate ability terbarunya, iaitu persona chords. Aku agak terkejut bila scene tu menjadi, di mana kita lihat Shinso berjaya brainwash Shishida, the guy with the beast quirk, menggunakan suara yang mirip bagaikan Suburaba, iaitu the solid air quirk guy. Soalan aku adalah, apakah implikasi kuasa persona chords oleh Shinso di dalam joint training ini nanti? dapatkah kelas 1A dan 1B menahan kuasa Shinso nanti? Because if he sounds just like your friend, so apa, takkan korang semua nak letak earbuds, pekakkan telinga korang? Like how do you beat this? Is it like, do you like sengaja pekakkan diri kau for like that joint training just to win? How do you communicate? Do you need a telepath on ground? Apa pendapat kau, Syaz?
Oh, jawapan dia mudah actually. Kalau you tengok, he needs a verbal response. So the only way Mr. Beastman responded to Suburaba tu is because he heard the voice. So dia pun dengan semangatnya, yeah, terus dia shut down. So knowing this, I have a feeling that kalau you tak respond langsung, that means you don't use any verbal punya communication, then you boleh macam Detective Conan. Sorry, I saw the guy punya statement. But yeah, because everybody knows his power, no one will respond to him. That's why dia kena imitate your vocal cords, your voices and so on. So how that works is kita ambil as a plot device je lah. That is like, oh, okay, they figure it out. They know how to record the voice pattern of somebody, and then when dia cakap through the mask tu kan, dia akan synthesize and ikut the voice pattern. So other than that, I don't think it's going to be you tak perlulah macam ada empath ke, you tak perlu ada somebody yang all quiet ke. You can just do non-verbal punya communication lah. But one thing yang I suspect is what happens kalau dia control somebody, okay, dia control somebody kat sini, and dia kat tepi, dia buat ventriloquism, itu memang pecah kepala lah. Can you imagine contohnya kan? Okay, contoh, let's say kalau kita go with the mind control Uraraka kan. Lepas tu, dia suruh Uraraka diri situ je. Then Deku datang like, are you okay? Lepas tu, dia buat ventriloquism, macam suara Uraraka coming from Uraraka. Padahal it's him. Faham tak? Kalau katakan, let's say kita ada puppet kat sini kan. Tiba-tiba kita cakap, macam bunyi keluar daripada puppet tu kan. So if kita dah mind control that person, and then we imitate dia punya voice as though dia cakap, lepas tu kita, orang luar respond, kan dah kena.
Itulah, that's the thing. Like this new device amplifies dia punya power kepada next level tu.
Betul.
It's like, how do you not speak to your teammates when you're in a battle? You will have to. Takkan korang macam tu je, macam it's like, it's kind of hard. A battle is hard and fast, and like things change. Kau tak sempat nak signal ya. A voice command is still the best way. So Andri, apa pendapat kau tentang this new cliffhanger ending ni, this persona chords?
Okay, this new device has actually made Shinso someone with dia punya code memang tak boleh block lah basically. It's very hard to block this sort of tech. I mean, just imagine he can actually become someone's voice. And in the heat of battle, right, where you are screaming and fighting, shouting orders, right, you can tell who is who. It doesn't matter if you have a game plan. It's going to fail. Even if Shinso punya power is limited kan, maybe he can just control 1% at one time kan. Can you imagine how much damage that 1% can do? If it's like 4 against 5 right now, it's 3 against 5, 6. It's not. It's like 2 against 1 now. It's ridiculous already. So, and to actually throw this thing right, dia punya device is called persona chords. It's basically a vocal type of weapon. Maybe that device has the ability to make, like Shazi mentioned, ventriloquism, can just bounce off voices from another part of area. Maybe he can make a sound from that loro, right? And then they quote, "Hey, are you okay? Help me!" And then, "Okay, got you, bitch."
Yep. That's the crazy thing, man. It can even be like without sight. Maksudnya tepi lorong apa, tapi kau dengar member kau, takkan kau tak jawab? Right?
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing, man.
It is a sonic device, and noise can grab through the air and surface
Yes.
areas. If it follows the science, it's amazing. I mean, possibilities are endless, basically.
Hmm.
Mm.
Tapi kalau nak tahu teori Brazil lah ni, kalau aku nak speculate lah what might happen kan in the Deku dengan Shinso punya group punya fight mungkin lah Mineta akan di mind control and then Deku akan cakap korang cuba goyang-goyang sikit dekat dia, tengok ada reaction tak. Dia orang goyang-goyang dekat dia, dia macam like so immediately dia orang kata this is not Mineta dah kena mind control dah. Kau goyang-goyang dekat dia, dia mesti dah menggelabah kan. So I mean that's about the only way you can detect that it's not him lah, sebab again you know the person well, and if he's not responding to how dia punya normal stimulus and whatnot, then you know he's under mind control lah. But that one
Secretly, you were saying?
sorry, that one probably another 5-6 episode from now lah baru kita boleh tengok that match.
Betul.
If we're
I
lucky.
think if we're lucky, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Mungkin
feel
10 episode
for the next episode onward, the more pressing one is the first battle ni kan. You actually have a natural foil dalam class 1B because Suburaba has a solid air quirk where even sound cannot keluar out of it. Macam cara dia cakap tu bersahaja je, betul ke macam okay, why you dropping this so early? Is it going to be relevant in the next 2 episodes? Is that how class 1B akan kalahkan Shinso? Apa pendapat kau, Syaz?
Actually kata silap aku dalam the preview trailer dia dah kena lock dah dalam air bubble tu.
Yeah.
You ingat tak? Yeah, he got locked down. So kalau based on that alone, I think he will have initial setback. That means what's going to happen is mungkin Shinso himself will be able to break free, but they will have some losses lah. So it might be a draw punya match. There won't be like 4-4. So but you can imagine 1 or 2 of them running away and hiding. That's the interesting part, because the group only loses when all 4 of them kena tangkap. Kalau katakan 2 dah kena tangkap, can you run away? Can you break them out? Or do you just go and hide? Because that is also one way to win the points. Because overall, the match ends after a certain time, or they capture all 4 or 5 of the other side. Sorry, no. You still only need 4 even against team of 5.
Yes.
So janji dah datang 4, the round is over. But the final tally is between class A and class B. So there is still value for you to run away and hide kalau katakan 3 of your teammates dah kena tangkap.
Interesting. I look forward to the next few weeks lah. Kita ada beberapa komen dari penonton di rumah ya. Mofa mengatakan, belum Ashraf Muhammad mengatakan, kalau Shinso lawan All for One boleh menang tak? All for One. It's not even a fight, is it? Apa pendapat kau?
I don't think so.
It really depends on how powerful Shinso punya power is. Sebab kita tahu even among users pun, contoh fire user, ice user, ada different levels of power. But actually kan, sebab All for One ni suka cakap kan. Like, don't hit me. Kau ingat aku sepet. Atau dia terus jadi like. Because All for One dia suka cakap. So if Shinso understands this trait, dia just cucuk dia sekali kan, aku tak takut kau, kau tak takut aku, terus dia shut down. Well, all you need to do is respond verbally to dia punya statement.
Iqbal Lee punya teori pula ialah belum apa-apa Shinso dah kena donat dengan All for One. maybe commentary maybe I think All for One is just a whole other power level lah. Komen terakhir kita untuk segmen ini, bagus MHA sentuh kepentingan support item. Tak adalah macam hero tu just guna power diri sendiri je. Support item akan jadikan hero tu versatile. Actually I think this is what sets siri ni lain daripada MCU ataupun DCEU. di mana gadget-gadget menjadi penting kepada superhero tersebut. Dia untuk buffkan natural talent kau to the next level. Apa pendapat korang? Anri?
I
silakan.
totally agree. I totally agree because it's the Batman effect. Batman by himself, right, is a formidable hero, but with his gadgets, right, takes him up to another level. He can actually beat up Superman during the what's that series yang dia mati tu.
The Dark Knight Rises?
Dark Knight Rises. Comic.
DKR. Ya, dalam komik, ya.
Yeah, the one where he becomes old and
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
Superman bleed.
Yeah.
It shows that something anime has a lot of facets, and this is actually one of the facets that we have more angles than just the power of friendship, nakama, and spirit. I mean, if you use drugs, if you use weapons, if you use support items, you can actually do a lot of impressive shit that even the hero cannot do. So I respect that in this series.
Yeah, even if you have a Saki power, but with the support items, you could be deadly, man.
Yeah, OP. Literally OP. Macam Shinso right now. His power is almost OP.
Yeah, it's just the power suggestion. Good. Dalam MCU, I
Yeah.
think he would die. But here he's like super deadly, man.
I think even in the MCU, he'll probably do very well. At least one-on-one fights.
He would be like the mastermind type, where he would control like maybe a few Hulks, and then the Hulks go do the beating for him. He wouldn't need to do anything, man.
I think he can even kill Hulk. Basically, he controls Hulk and says, "Hulk, don't breathe for half an hour." I'm pretty sure Hulk will die.
Yeah, that's how crazy.
And he just had to sit there for half an hour, tengok Hulk tak nafas, and he won't actually have to do anything. Just wait. That's very overpowered.
Indeed. Syaz, apa pendapat kau sebelum kita ke segmen terakhir kita malam ni?
Dia punya support item ni, as we can see, it allows people who are not on the power level of All Might, One for All, and all these type of characters. It allows them to contribute and to be able to perform better. That's why kalau you tengok macam Shinso is a very obvious punya character lah. But even some of the other characters kan, you tengok without their items, they are not much use. Contohnya Bakugo, he has a way now to funnel dia punya explosion and dia simpan dekat dia punya gauntlet grenade tu kan. So not only is it an offensive weapon by itself, kalau dia campak benda tu, it becomes an actual grenade. But it allows him to channel his power better, and it becomes a reserve because he cannot produce so much sweat non-stop. So it becomes when he needs to fight, he starts storing kat situ lah. And then kalau kita tengok who else yang ada,
I think Ilda without the suit, like what is he, man?
Itu dia sebab power dia kat kaki dia punya speed kat situ. The suit is more of a gimmick / protection. But if you look at it on the other perspective, some of the characters don't need any support equipment. Contohnya Red Riot doesn't need equipment. Of course, All Might is an obvious one. But even in the pro level punya characters, kalau you tengok siapa tu, Present Mike was that his name? Dia ada amplifier. Dia pakai something macam a way to amplify his voice. So even without his voice pun dah cukup kuat dah. But bila dia pakai tu, sampai satu daerah tu bergegar. Aku when I first saw that,
lawak.
That was
he's like a radio DJ turn superhero, man. that's his power, man. It's like
they just like the whole daerah will just shout out. But some characters will need the support items, some do not. However, it's quite interesting that they take support items seriously. There's actually a subclass for support items.
Yeah, that's even the whole, the creator class, the one with all the inventors. That's super cool.
The support punya class. Comes to the point that ingat tak dalam the sports festival, Mei kan nama dia kan?
Mei Hatsune.
Mei Hatsune. Siap Ida kena bully je non-stop kan. All the products put on display. But that is to show how important these things is, and they will become sponsored later on as part of the
Yes.
support punya team.
It's pretty cool. It's like you've thought out a whole economy and like agencies. It's like jurisdiction and stuff like that. Benda yang you don't really get from like Spider-Man ataupun Batman. Siapa bagi
Betul.
lesen kat dia? Dia ikut sekati dia je. Dia nak jaga
Dia
that part of
vigilante.
Queens, New York. It's like it's cool. Okay, dengan itu berakhirlah segmen ini dan kita akan ke segmen terakhir kita malam ini. Okay, jadi segmen terakhir kita malam ini adalah harapan kami untuk episod My Hero Academia minggu depan. Personally, harapan aku adalah kita akan tengok lebih banyak babak-babak di mana Shinso akan dominate kelas 1A dan kelas 1B. And harapan aku ialah kalau dia berjaya pun, he won't be kicking out anybody out of 1A or 1B lah. Apakah harapan korang untuk episod minggu depan? Silakan Syaz.
Okay, I think Shinso is the main character of the week lah, we can say. I'm hoping Shinso will result in the win untuk 1A punya battle ni. And because at first I didn't realise they were being televised, but then when they showed kat big screen tu, dia punya power. So it is, how shall we say, this is how Deku will be able to plan on how to fight Shinso later on. Because as we know in any superhero punya fight, the more abilities you keep hidden, the more chances you can win. So when he is forced to use his power macam ni, Deku will be better prepared lah. So I expect a win for Shinso punya team. Maybe not a full win, but it will also be something important for Deku lah untuk dia punya fight later on.
Cool. Walaupun kita nampak dia dah terlekat dalam box kau confident yang kelas 1A still akan menang
Yeah, aku confident akan lah sebab there is not enough time for Shinso to show all his abilities except for this first fight. Okay. So he will be playing the more critical role lah. Aku rasa Kaminari tu jadi bahan lawak again lah. Dia baru nak alih power, keluar mamat rambut hijau tu balikkan like engkau lagi, ya Allah. Apa power aku?
Demam. Dia terus demam.
Dia terus demam. Dia ni lagi kan. Dah lah dia distracted dengan seorang apa? Dia punya classmate sendiri tu kan, like dia tak bebe macam pandang macam like dia Asui tengah duk cerita, telling point dia macam mata dia tengah beliak tengok benda lain kan. Tu dah mengarut dah dia, kepala dia tak fokus dah tu.
Andri, what are your hopes for the episode next week?
I hope the first match will be concluded and there'll be more waifu action following that.
Momo.
Yeah, Momo.
Kau pun Momo ni. Oh my god.
I think Momo is a better female main character in the series than Ochako.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I like that the more she uses her powers, the less she gets to wear.
Seriously, it's a win-win situation for the ratings wise.
Correct.
Let's be real.
Yeah, man.
Tapi memang kalau you want to talk mini waifu session lah, memang Momo has been the one who has shown the most character growth dari segi dia punya leadership and what not. Dari segi popularity jangan kira lah, memang each girl has their own fans and what not lah. But she has grown from somebody who is mula-mula dia macam, oh aku ni special student, to somebody who like, aku tak boleh lawan. Ingat tak dia lawan dengan dalam sports festival, dia kalah completely total, just like pop aku dah kalah, that kind of thing. And then dia dengan Todoroki, dia survive Aizawa punya ni, dia punya challenge against Aizawa, and then now she's become a confident punya fighter and leader jugalah. So there's a lot of growth in her dari segi character.
Yeah, but people seems to forget that Momo's character is actually a support character. She's not actually a frontline offensive unit.
Ya, betul.
Even the frog girl, Usui kan, she's a
Yeah.
fighter compared to most other female characters. Siapa lagi boleh lawan? Ochako is not a fighter. She's a basically support. All she does is make things lose gravity. And yeah,
That's it. Dalam
that
1A
goes to
tak
show.
ramai. Yeah.
In 1A, there's a lot of powerful hero characters. Also, there's some stupid hero characters like Naval Laser and, of course, Mineta.
Yeah, man.
We always
Aku
shit on
rasa-
these people.
Aku rasa
But-
Acid Girl tu pun boleh. She can fight.
Yeah. Who?
Acid Girl.
Ashido. She could fight, but what she could do is she actually melt things. And when was the last time you see hero actually melt a person to submission? I don't see that thing happen. Yeah, she's probably a rescue type of hero. If you see the roster for class 1A and 1B, right? Class 1B actually has a lot of heroes that could fight as a frontline unit now. Kido, the vice class leader, the girl, she's basically a kung fu fighter sort of hero with the big hands. And even Ibarra with the vine hair, right? She alone looks like someone like macam Swamp Thing punya power, macam level tau. That's actually so frightening. A defensive and offensive unit at the same time. So a lot of people forget that a lot of these girls in the series are basically with powers are usually helpless, but those who doesn't have powers macam apa tu, Himiko Toga, she doesn't use her power all the time. Dia ambil darah je, but most of the time dilawan kan, she just use her fighting skill with the knives. So in that sense, I look forward to see how these women who cannot fight. That's what draws me into the series.
To see the evolution of their powers.
Yeah.
Kita akan berakhir dengan beberapa komen dari penonton di rumah ya. Mofa daripada YouTube mengatakan Deku pun dah berapa banyak support item yang diguna. Yes, aku quite interested how like from season to season support item ni makin lama makin berkuasa dan boleh allows him to unleash more and more power ataupun hone dia punya power to become better.
It pays to have a girlfriend at the gadget department.
I was quite surprised by the flashback scene yang Uraraka jealous tu. Macam, okay, why did that have to happen just before the battle begins? Like, what are you trying to say? You know, it's like, that's kind of weird.
A lot of people minat dengan Deku. Even Kemi. Even though yang Kemi ada jumpa masa the sports festival was actually Toga. After they met Kemi, she was actually friendly with Deku. Apparently Deku, even though macam ulat buku like that, right, can be popular with girls despite being very ugly compared to Bakugo.
Indeed. Iqbal Lee daripada YouTube bertanya, don't you think that Shinso's persona chords macam present mic punya power? Apa pendapat kau, Syaz?
Mungkin the development of the equipment could be coming from the same people lah, sebab dia kena, aku rasa dia kena record the voice dulu tau. Dia tak boleh lah macam bawa
dia macam gerakkan tombol tu and then dia tukar
so
and then baru dia boleh buat suara tu ya.
Yes. So aku rasa dia kena either he must be able to record dia punya user punya voice, or maybe as an evolution later on dia boleh store dalam memory tu lah. But aku rasa it might be something like present mic punya power in the sense that there is some kind of amplifier kat sini.
Ataupun macam ventriloquist lah, dia boleh baling suara kan, macam ventriloquist kan.
It could be also. Itu dah ninjutsu.
Although I feel right now it's very manual, macam aku kena tukar tombol ni krak. There is a
so it could be a prototype lah.
Macam kalau aku ada super speed, aku karate chop kau je sampai kau tengah nak tukar-tukar kau punya tombol kan. Macam tu lah. Juga kita ada beberapa komen daripada Mofa, dia mengatakan sedih tengok Momo pakai jubah. Please lah nak tengok Momo tanpa jubah. Iqbal ni membangkang. Dia kata sejuk bro. Momo sejuk, okay? Sebab tu dia kena pakai jubah. Dan komen terakhir tu malam ini, Deku, magnet tarik berbola. Berbola apa? Faham-faham sendiri.
Bola tom
Okay.
yam kot.
Aku rasa ini berkaitan dengan kebanyakan fan art Deku. Tolong jangan, kau janji aku kau takkan Google search Deku fan art, okay?
Tak
It's
apa,
like,
aku tak try.
Especially Deku Todoroki, jangan. Jangan sentuh.
oh, yes,
Jangan.
please don't.
No.
Disturbing indeed.
I rather search waifu punya art.
Definitely, man.
Kan?
Definitely. Maka dengan itu berakhirlah segmen kita minggu ini. Apa pendapat korang tentang episod My Hero Academia minggu ini, dan apakah harapan korang untuk episod minggu depan? Tell us in the comment section below. Terima kasih kepada para panelis kita minggu ini, Shazli American dan juga Andri Alwi. Thank you guys. Maka dengan itu berakhirlah segmen hari ini. Majulah fandom untuk negara. Ending broadcast in 3